What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you not to be obsessed with these abominable snowbrads, but you did it anyway, and now he's leaving you lumped up and lost. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these divestor posts that I've seen on social media because I think a lot of these divestors, what's interesting about them to me is like even though their divestment relationship ended in a absolute failure, they still want to showcase it on social media. So we're going to talk about one in particular, but before I get to that, let me show you this first, okay? Because I found this right before I was going to record this video, and it goes along with the subject matter that I'm going to be talking about, but you just gotta see this because this is ridiculous, right? And it's like a little photo montage of this divestor and her boyfriend, and he's giving her bananas. Literally gave her a bouquet of bananas, right? Then he gives her a bucket of fried chicken, and then after that he gives her a ball, like a basketball. So a bouquet of bananas, a bucket of fried chicken, and a basketball for his bedwench love here, right? And it's really disturbing to see this. And of course, like by the end of the photo montage, she's kind of laughing it off, right? And I see a lot of performative racism like this on social media, especially on platforms like TikTok, to the point where if I were to like do a commentary about the things that I see on social media like this, I could literally do like 2 or 3 videos a day, right? But if I did that, like YouTube would get mad at me and say that I'm performing some sort of hate speech or racism or whatever. But these platforms like YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Snapchat allow these types of videos and images to be broadcast on their platforms all day, and they won't call it out for the racism and the hate speech that it truly is. And I think one of the reasons they get away with it is because you have a lot of these bootlicking black folks, and this lady here is obviously not from America, right? And I'm not saying that there aren't bootlicks and buffoonish divestors here that are homegrown in the United States, but I can tell this one in particular is not from here, right? And the fact that there are so many of these types all over social media, that helps and bolsters this type of content. And, once again, if people like myself call it out, I'll have the media platforms attack me, and I'll even get some of these clowns that comment on my channel, because very recently I had some of these clowns commenting on my channel who they just can't take it, right? They just can't take it that I would ever criticize someone, a black-skinned person who's not from America. They just can't take it that I would criticize them for being buffoons. But they won't say anything to the actual buffoons themselves. They'll only comment on me when I give my commentary about it. But that's the first part what I wanted to show you here. Now let's get to the actual divestment story. Okay? And I found this on an actual, like a African woman's page. So it wasn't a black woman's page, but it was like an African woman's page. So something that is geared towards or showcases African women specifically. I found this on Instagram. And it is this black woman. I want to say she's from Nigeria. And she is basically showcasing her relationship that she had with this abominable Snowbrad. And of course, she thought this abominable Snowbrad was going to be her dream man. He's going to be everything that she could ever want in life. And she winds up getting abused by him. And then, of course, she has the great realization and revelation that it's not right for these devils to abuse you. So let's start from the beginning, because she made a little photo montage too, telling her story. And, you know, she showed that she moved from the UK, or she moved to the UK because of him. So I don't know where he found her. I don't know if he found her in her home country, or, you know, while, you know, they were traveling or whatever. That's when they met, and she decided to move to the UK to be with him. And the next photo, she says, I thought I married my soulmate. So these people got married here, right? And she couldn't be happier being with this little bust down Chad here. And she's smiling from ear to ear. Now, here's where it gets rocky. Here's where it starts getting crazy. She says, 2 months after moving here, he punched me several times on my face and strangled my neck. I thought I was going to die. That sounds about right, by the way. This sounds just like that maniac football player, Chad Wheeler, who damn near beat his black girlfriend to death. He tried to anyway. And that's exactly what this sounds like, where you have a black African woman getting physically abused by her Chad, the white boy that she loves so much, and that she decided to leave her home country and go to his home country. As soon as she got there, he started putting hands on her. So let's continue with her story here. She says he started calling her names like the B word. He called her an animal. He called her fat, and started calling her a Nigerian scammer. And that became her new name. So that's why I'm assuming she's from Nigeria, because of all because he called her a Nigerian scammer. She might not be. She might actually be from a different country. She doesn't say, but that's how he refers to her. Such a sweet guy. Yeah, you know, such a sweet white man. You know, this is the white man that so many of you want and so many of you idolize and worship, and this is how he treats you. Very nice names to call your black woman here, right? So let's look some more about what she has to say about this relationship. Now she's talking about herself. She says, heaven knows I am not a nagging woman. I tried my best to make it work. I don't know how you can make that work, by the way. How do you make something work where he's punching you and choking you? You don't, it's not up to you to make that work. If he's abusing you, you can't make that work, lady. Okay? I don't know where she's getting this from, but she says she would apologize even if it wasn't my fault. Well, how can it be your fault for him to be beating you and choking you? And then she says, this is key right here, where she says, he met all of my family, but I never met his family. Like, that should be a warning sign right there. And this is not the first time I've seen this in these divestment relationships. I've seen this happen a lot, where the white boy will meet all of this black girl's family, but she will never meet his. Like, it's almost like he is keeping her a secret, right? I've seen this in several of these divestment relationships. That should be a major red flag, because if he's hiding you and he doesn't want you to ever meet his family, that shows you what he truly thinks of you. You are just someone for him to play around with in the bedroom to fulfill whatever twisted African sexual fetish that this man has, right? And he doesn't want his family or his friends to know about you. So once again, it says, he slapped me again after a few months. And she says she had lost her dad. So I guess her father passed away during this time as well. and she is still grieving. She says she lost herself. She had to move out. And as soon as she moved out, he filed for divorce. And, within 2 weeks of her leaving him, which, I don't, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, why that's a complaint. Because, you would think that if this man was mistreating you, getting a divorce from him would be a good thing, right? But she seems to be hurt by the fact that her white zaddy decided to file for divorce after he's been kicking her ass for however long their relationship was. And then, you get to the final parts of her little photo montage where she talks about like all the abuse that she went through and how she says she will never, ever again live with an abusive partner. And I mean, we got to point it out here. We got to point it out, the fact that when she started out in her relationship with this devil, she had black hair, and now that he has physically, emotionally, psychologically abused her, now she's got blonde hair. All right, that should be a clue as to where her mind is now. And even if you go to the last frame here, she's looking like Joy Reid with the bald fade going on here, and she's got, it's completely blonde. She's got a ton of makeup on her face. She looks a little ridiculous, I think, with a lot of that makeup and the blonde hair, but that's just my personal opinion, to each their own, right? But the fact that after all of this psychological abuse by this devil, this is the way she decides to portray herself. And don't think that she won't end up with another white man. Okay, don't think that she's sworn off white men, because that's the real sad thing about these divestors. It doesn't matter how much a white man abuses them. It doesn't matter how much a white man mistreats them. They will always give the abominable Snowbrand another chance. There's never a thing where these divestors get abused by a white man and then they just swear off all white men and talk bad about white men from now on. They never do that. It's when a white man is abusive, he's an individual. If a black man says something to her on the street, all black men are bad from all eternity after that, right? So it's a really warped and disturbing mindset from these types of females. You guys can let me know how you feel about this in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinions on this particular subject. Once again, this is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.